Hey, what's up guys? This is ChrisD, and I want to teach you about Chris Redfield in Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. There's a bit more excitement and interest surrounding Chris ever since the patch this week, and he did get some buffs, but the question remains, is he still bad? Is he secretly good now? Will he be playable in, high-level play, or, what happens? So I'm going to try and bring more information to you guys and, get you a bit more aware of Chris's strengths and weaknesses. So I wanted to do a pretty in-depth breakdown of just all of his options and what you can and can't do with him. I won't break down like frame data or stuff like that. You can find those elsewhere. But I wanted to kind of make this a seminar to help explain what Chris is capable of, and then you can make your own decision afterwards to see if you can pick him up. So I wanted to start by just, laying it out on the table here. Chris's pluses and minuses, his strengths and weaknesses, why you should or should not play Chris. So you should play Chris if you want to do a good, solid ground zoning lockdown game. Chris has some great tools now to win projectile wars. He can force you to block. He can keep away. He has pretty good zoning. Ground approaches pretty much get stuffed by Chris. A lot of supers will lose out to Chris's options. It can be really hard to punish him sometimes, and it's just really, really solid for Chris as a support character due to his great level 1s, really good level 3, and his specials. Why you don't want to play Chris pretty much comes down to either movement or air game. Chris, as you can see here, does not have a great dash, and his wave dash is lacking, to say the least. And his air game, obviously he has no air movement. He's pretty free in the air. So if you're looking for someone that can move around a lot or do a bunch of like 50-50 mix-ups super fast or dance on people's heads, Chris is not your guy. So just laying that out there right now. Chris also doesn't have too many defensive options up close. He can get rushed down pretty heavily, especially from air approaches. So you have to have really good defense or a good zoning flowchart if you do want to play Chris. But hopefully I can help explain, some of his tools today that, you can fight against this, fight against those weaknesses and learn to adapt against them. So I did want to point out some important normals right now. He does have a mashable jab, and I'm going to test this against a tag. Basically, if you hold down jab after the flash, it will trade. It's a 4-frame jab. And yeah, you can mash it out, but it's not too far reaching, not too great. You can only mash it for so long before they fall away. I think if you're in the Space Stone box and you're cornered, you'll get pushed out eventually, so you can't just do that forever until the storm ends. It might depend how close you are in the corner, but I wouldn't rely on it too much. But it's there. It's pretty fast. Chris actually has a fast normal for once, so that's pretty good. His standing light kick, I wanted to point out, is very good as a lead-in. Very good for footsies, and you can confirm off of it with a slide. Do it fast enough, or standing heavy. The standing heavy, I'll point out, does not have great range. So at max range for that standing light kick, it can miss, as you see there. But standing light kick also pushes him forward, so it's kind of goofy, but it's cool. Standing heavy kick, I did want to point out because they can reflect it back at you. It is a bullet, which is bad, and the crouching heavy kick also bad because of the bullet, except it's a low. So it can be cool as like a far-reaching low, and if you get the distance right, they can't reflect it. But I want to just throw it out there as like a surprise low because this can happen. So yeah, be wary of that, and be careful if you're doing block strings with the heavy kicks, because they can reflect them back, and you'll be in trouble if they do. For command normals, I wanted to point out the stun rod forward LP, another good lead-in tool that you can dash in with. Pretty good range, far distance, far reaching, and you can combo standing light kick afterwards because that moves you forward. Very good for starting combos, for playing footsies, for getting in, far-reaching, very nice. Another good command normal to use is a slide. It is a low, very far-reaching, very good. Probably comparable to Frank West as far as distance and surprise low can go. Probably not as good as Nova or Captain Marvel's, but it's very good. Takes people by surprise, and yes, you can OTG afterwards. For his crouching normals, other than standing HK, he's got the launcher, of course. Very good as an anti-air. This can surprise a lot of people because it does cover pretty well above him. If you do want to anti-air and you know they're coming in, this at the worst I think would probably trade with like jump-ins. But it obviously won't beat out like certain supers and stuff, so just, you know, be careful with that. Crouching low kick is another one of his lows, but again, not that great. Range is lacking, to say the least. And his crouching light punch is not a low, which is very disappointing, seeing how it is his normal from Marvel 3, which was a godlike low in that game. Very good for starting combos, very good for reaching and playing footsies, beats out a lot of good characters. So the range is still there in a way, but it's just not a low anymore. I would recommend throwing it out every once in a while because it will take people by surprise, and then you can combo into standing light kick afterwards, and then you get a good combo after that. So not too bad for Chris's array of normals. Air normals, pretty much jump heavy punch is the one you want to use. Jump heavy kick, also good from a distance, but again, they can reflect it, and if you're close enough, you're in trouble. But jumping heavy punch, really good, surprisingly. Beats a lot of air-to-air normals. Covers both above, in front, and below Chris. And it is also good for a short hop overhead, which I will show off right now. So the key to this is Chris can get a pretty low short hop with down, up, down, and I want to hold on to down while doing this. If you're on hitbox, it's probably a lot easier for you, but I am on pad. There you go. Short hop heavy punch is a very good, quick surprise overhead that a lot of people won't see coming because they look at Chris and they're like, oh, he's got those lows, he's got a slide, I guess that could surprise me. Whatever, I'm just gonna hold down back. Chris can't open me up. But not quite true. He's got this. So it'll work on average size characters, but be sure to test it on most of the cast. Whoops. I'm gonna bring in 0. I'm gonna have 0 crouching. And as you can see, this will not work on 0 at all. Doesn't matter how low I get. Unless I'm a god and get it like super low, it just won't work. You probably have to wait an extra second before you can hit them. Same case with like Raccoon, of course, probably Firebrand, maybe Morrigan. Just like lower characters that can duck down. Strider I think counts as well. But it works really well on like average size characters like Iron Man, Gamora, Jeddah, stuff like that. Higher, bigger body characters works really well against. So definitely keep that in your arsenal for some good mix-ups. Pretty much if you want to do it as a neutral jump. And then the way to confirm it is with the jump heavy kick, which is the gunshot. And then you get a combo after that. If you try to short hop from like, yeah, you might miss sometimes. Sometimes you can hit him afterwards. Another way to confirm is the power stone, as you see there. It's just really good. So now I want to go to the prone position, which is kind of interesting because, of course, only Chris can do this. It's retaining the same property as 3, of course. You can crawl around and, you can shoot a bullet. Unfortunately, the bullet doesn't go straight ahead this time. It goes at an upward angle, so it can be difficult to use, especially because they can reflect bullets now. It will hit you. You can't mash it. Be careful when you're using it, basically. And the only way to get out of it is either with a quick get up or with the shoulder rush. And the shoulder rush is really good because it's invul. Let me do an example here. I'll have Iron Man do his level 3, or not level 3, his level 1. I was gonna duck under it, no biggie. But if I want to punish it, I can just shoulder charge. Let's see what happens when I do zeros. Level 3. Gonna mash it. There you go, went right through it. So, when to use shoulder charge is up to you. basically, if they get close enough, you can play a game of chicken, and if they're not aware of it, they're going to get punished, and then you get a full combo afterwards with that wall bounce. So, very, very good tool that they added to Chris's arsenal for this game. Definitely keep it in mind. Going in the prone can be a little tricky, since it's a down-down motion, but you can basically shoulder rush like right afterwards, so this can even beat out like some normals if they're hitting too high. You know, I wouldn't throw it out that often, but you know, it's interesting to do. It'd be a nice punish, and like I said, you can do a full punish after that for a full combo. But keep in mind that shoulder won't go through everything. Best example, Zero's DP super. So with the change in the patch, Zero will get hit after frame 1 of his super, but I mean, so you can do that if you time it early enough, like as a meaty, I guess, which is kind of cool, but again, just, whoops, forgot to record the DP. There we go. So I'm going to try to do it on reaction now, and it won't even come out. So just keep that in mind. Alright, now I'm going to go through Chris's moveset, what he's, you know, doing with these moves, when you can use them, how effective they are, and so on. So first off, I want to go through the combination punches. They're used in, obviously, combos based on the name, but we got the light punch with the follow-up. The final light follow-up is a Magnum, so it does use a bullet, keep that in mind. And there's the heavy punch variation. And that follow-up does a stun, but it also does a shotgun after that. So keep that in mind. The one you want to use is the light one. When you're doing combos, pretty straightforward stuff, and it's pretty easy to confirm afterwards with just like a super or, you know, another Magnum. The heavy one can be good, but you only really want to do it in the corner. If you're not tagging out, you can follow it up there. If you're tagging in a partner, by all means, do it, but it's going to be harder to confirm. It's there, though. Overall, I think the combination punches are pretty good. They're not as strong as they were in 3, I would say, but they still have some nice confirms and some nice, like, good damage that you can do with them, especially the light one. So now I'm going to go over the grenades. The grenades are really hot topic when it comes to Chris. So he's got the flame grenade and he's got the landmine. These are definitely not as good as they were in 3. I mean, I'll show you why flame grenade is pretty bad now. You can just punch them and they go away. They don't explode. Pretty bad. And same case with landmine as well. You can just hit them. I think they still are good to throw out every once in a while, but don't rely on them like you would in 3. And they're really hard to confirm off of, as you see there. Landmine, very difficult to confirm off of. It's on his foot right now, but it's not even hitting him. So you gotta be up close. They have to fall into it, basically. And you pretty much have to confirm it with a jumping normal. I like confirming it with Power Stone. That leads to a full combo. You can OTG after that. Landmine can be used in combos, and I'll show you some BNBs later. Basically after slide, you just do landmine right away. So that's good. It's nice to have that. But you lose so much more in that trade. And it is unfortunate. It does get rid of a lot of Chris's defensive options up close. The opponent doesn't have to respect those mines once they know you can just hit Chris and they go away. So I'll show. Yep. So Chris is getting hit and then the grenade disappears. Very bad. I think the nerf was warranted because it's happening with other traps as well. Like same thing happens with raccoons. Same thing happens with like dorm stuff. Dorm stuff goes away when you hit them. It's just very unfortunate for Chris players everywhere. So now we're just gonna move on to the guns. So we have the shotgun, which is the light punch. Pretty good for pressure. The spread is really difficult to reflect, so I'm gonna put on the reflect here if I can find it. All guard, advancing guard. See, the blast is getting reflected, but it's not really hitting Chris. You have to be really up close in order for it to get hit. Jumping, you'll get hit for sure. with a jump in. Pretty much the same case for machine guns. They only are able to reflect the last bullet, which is kind of interesting, but they can still reflect it, and they more or less just have to match advancing guard, and they're able to do it. Jump in machine gun, not really that great up close because they can block it and push block it. But from a distance, it's actually pretty good. It's good lockdown, and yeah, as long as you don't have like some forward momentum. But you see they're reflecting it, but the bullets just like, they just kind of fly past Chris because he's going downward. So, you know, for jumping guns, machine gun's pretty good for an arsenal, and then you can do some tag pressure with machine gun if it hits, or if it doesn't hit. It's still good to have, just to throw it out there every once in a while. But the big gun that everyone will look at is Magnum. And, I mean, Magnum is just amazing. You can't reflect it. Yeah, Chris has a limited ammo stock, but you know, it's okay, right? The reload's fast enough. You can do a few things with it. You can even cancel out reload with that cool little animation on landing frames. Yeah, alright. But Magnum, really good, really fast, really hard to like see coming. You pretty much have to predict it or just hold back in the first place. But I'll show an example of how good Magnum is now. Thanks to the buff, it will go through supers. Let's see if I can do it with this super. This is a little awkward to do with Iron Man, but I think I got it. So it's going to pierce through the bullet and hit Iron Man, and the gun goes away, obviously, because he was holding onto it. Really cool. You could not do this when this game first came out. It blows my mind that they wouldn't even let Magnum do anything in the first place, but they like super buffed it now. And against Zero level 3, well, it goes through, but it doesn't nullify it, and it ends up hitting Zero. More or less a trade, but it's more of a trade for Zero because it's obviously a level 3 and it's going to do more damage for him. I wouldn't recommend using it against a lot of level 3s, but against like regular supers and stuff, or stuff you see coming, like, you know, good projectiles, if a strange is trying to do bolts, if Dorm is trying to like throw out a random chaotic flame, just throw out a Magnum, like try to see it coming, and you know, you beat them out for free. So it's really nice. And then for Magnum, you want to confirm it like at all times, and there's a couple ways you can confirm Magnum. You can do heavy kick Magnum. Oh, I didn't do that fast enough. And then you can super after that. You can just do Magnum again. Oh, good enough. Maybe it works on taller characters. Yeah, but I wouldn't recommend that either. You can dash forward, Flamethrower. Oops. And super after that, Magnum again. But I would recommend doing a dash forward and then either do stun rod or slide. So I wouldn't really recommend slide. That used to be my old confirm, but if you do it too late, it'll miss. As you see there. Let me just turn on like standing. So do stun rod first, and it will always reach forward, and then you can slide and then follow through with a combination punch after that. It's really good to have. And for solo confirm, just do the combination punch finisher and then super afterwards, which I dropped because I didn't do it fast enough. It should work. It's full screen. Yep. Come up with like 5.5k. It's really good. And if you want to tag in a partner instead to finish the combo for you, you can definitely do that after any combination punch. And so on. So yeah, definitely have your Magnum confirms down. Don't do anything super lazy. Definitely optimize that stuff because you don't know when you'll get a hit like that again. Make it count. Like, you know, if you punish someone with Magnum, make them regret it. Yeah. But that's all we have to say for the special moves. So before I move on, I also wanted to mention the Flamethrower, which kind of qualifies as both a command normal and a regular move. Wasn't sure where to file it in, but it's pretty special because it has some really good range on the ground, and it's really good, really deceptive range overall. But it's really good for keeping people away on the ground with Chris. And as a bonus, they can't really push block it. Like once they get pushed back, it's like they still have to hold that. Let's turn on push blocking. They're push blocking, but Chris isn't getting pushed back. Pretty cool. So you can kind of add more pressure to that. It's a good like pressure string if they push you back. Push back your advances. Just cancel the Flamethrower. You might catch them off guard. If you do catch them off guard, there's a couple ways to confirm it. One of the best ways is Magnum. You can just combo after that, you know. You can also just super, whoops, you can cancel the other guns, of course. This is going into, there we go. So to cancel the super, that'll punish as well, but I think it's better, it makes more sense to do Magnum first. But if you're out of Magnum bullets, you know, you can super. Up close, you can also cancel the stone, if you have one. But just be careful because there is that blind spot above Chris there. So if people are in the air, don't throw out Flamethrower because it'll make him very vulnerable once he puts it away. You can let go of it early to put it away, but it still takes that extra second, which gives him some vulnerability. But that's pretty much Flamethrower in a nutshell. I would say it's not as good as the Marvel 3 version just because it doesn't do chip damage. And it doesn't really build insane bar like it did in 3. In 3, a full Flamethrower would build like half a bar. It was crazy. And it did so much damage, and you could easily combo from it, but it's a little different in this game, and I would not recommend it for too many combos. It's just not as efficient compared to Chris's other options. That being said, you can use it on some confirms, and you should keep that in mind. So, you know, definitely just practice like Flamethrower pickups. You know, you can tag in a partner after, you know, doing the guns, combo after that. So, you know, it is really good to throw out every once in a while, especially if they're on the ground. Just be careful and make sure that the opponent is grounded or they are trying to push you on the ground before you can use it. Alright, now I'm going to break down Chris's supers. He does have the same supers from Marvel 3, the 2 level 1s and the level 3. And I think overall they got buffed from that iteration, but, you know, see for yourself. So to start off, here's the grenade launcher super. You know, pretty straightforward stuff. The ice grenade will still freeze and it'll still pierce projectiles. The good thing about this now is that it will combo even if they're in the air. You couldn't do that in Marvel 3. Really nice to have. And then it also does really well against other supers. However, you know, if they, you know, throw out a random 0 level 3, just shoot a grenade launcher, and it freezes 0 long enough where you can do a full combo afterwards. Pretty cool stuff. So this is a really good super to have, and it's also really good just for like set play options in general. It's good for locking down, even in neutral. It's just good to throw out there, so let's do all guard. And I know Winter Soldier is the best like mix up there. You know, he has an overhead, whatever. You know, he can do some stuff. And if the last grenade shot hits, the tracking grenade hits, then you get a free combo after that because it's a hard knockdown. The bad thing about this Chris super is the grenades do go away if he gets hit. So while the ice grenade will go through, let's just say that what's the best way to show this? So Chris got hit, and that tracking shot that got shot up in the air won't come back down anymore like it could in 3. So don't throw it out there in neutral. If you drop a combo and you do this super, you might be in trouble if you don't have a partner to tag into. Just be really careful with it. Pretty much only want to use it in combos or in punish situations, or if you have a partner that you can tag into and start mixing them up with. That's really it for grenade launcher in a nutshell. So his next super is the sweep combination. Again, exact same as Marvel 3, same guns, same movements, everything. But the good thing about this super now is that it has invul frames at the start. He's pretty much invulnerable on startup and before the first knife swipe. And I think the best way to test that out is with a level 3. Let's do this. Whoops, I slid into it. There we go. And sure enough, he went right through it and punished Iron Man. So it's a really good tool to have for Chris. It's a great get off me. I would recommend tagging into it afterwards, especially if they block, so you can follow it up. But it's just really good defensive option for Chris now. I would not recommend using this in a combo. Whoops. Okay. I mean, for one thing, it doesn't reach far enough. That's bad. I have all guard on him. But even in the corner, like, you're still not really getting much out of it. Like, it's just really bad for combo enders. do a combo. There we go. See how he falls out? I think it's just like just a bit of like startup that before that first swipe. It's just not that solid for finishing combos with. So it's really just better as like a neutral defensive get off me tool because of the invul, and it's also good for mixing people up since he does shoot. And if I just tag in, you can do whatever after that, and the rocket launcher will hard knock down as well, and that's a good follow for a combo with your partner. So that's pretty good. But definitely don't use it in combos. And now the last one is the satellite laser, which I should go to auto here and show you what happens when it hits. So every hit does hard knockdown, or every shot I should say. There is startup invul for Chris there, and it does give him invul every time he shoots. So I can show you an example of what happens. So if Iron Man tries to punish, it won't work. But on the other side of things, if I try to, punish that, it won't work. Probably a better example would be mashing jab with Iron Man, and then trying to bring him in with Space Stone, and then punish it with level 3. So you'll see here that the level 3 will be invul on startup, but I won't be able to get that shot out unless I'm really lucky. This was a bad example. Mashing again, didn't come out. So you see how it's like really inconsistent, but more often than not, you will get meatied, and it won't come out. So don't try to do hard punishes like that with this super. It's not for that. What it is good for is punishing people who think that they can just run away from Chris. And you can actually follow this up with a dash forward heavy kick into another super. Up close, you can do a slide in the super. And then if you try to do like a full combo, like slide and launch, you're in for a disappointment because it won't combo. So those are your follow-up options for level 3 if it does hit. You can also attack in your partner, but again, same result. You're just going to have to use a super right away. So it's really good as just a punish. If they're ever pressing a button as you're firing, it's good. If they try to like punish with like a level 3, just shoot. So basically, if the second Chris becomes active, they can't do anything. They can, the only thing they can really do is just block and wait it out. And you can definitely stall with this super if your partner has red health. If you're just trying to lame them out with a timeout or something, just look how long this lasts. This is like a good solid 5 seconds, and it is amazing. Like it's just pretty much playing a game of chicken at that point. What I like to do is just bring the reticle around, maybe do like a warning shot, put some fear into their hearts, and then if they ever get punished, then you get a full combo afterwards. If it's like, only 1 or 2 shots, basically. But if it's all 3 shots, you can only do the short extension. But it's really nasty in that regard. Even if they're just blocking, look how much chip this does. And they're push blocking this. So let's turn off push block. Like that is crazy chip damage for level 3. Absolutely insane. So like you can do stuff if they're low on health, just do storm and then cancel the level 3 right away. Look, just take a ton of chip. It's pretty crazy in that regard. So I'd say it's a good level 3 overall. Just don't use it up close and just don't throw it out 100% of the time, because eventually people will understand what this super can and can't do, and then you will get punished severely for trying to do some cute stuff with it. I mean, just forcing them to block is fine. Doing chip is fine. The shots don't do a lot of block stun, unfortunately, so if you tag in your partner, they might be able to mash out and punish you for trying to follow up. But they could punish Chris if they just wait it out and wait for him to put it away. Like, it's really dangerous, especially if they're in the corner and you're like closer to them. It doesn't give you that much space to recover, and then you're pretty much done for. So just not that good overall as a punish scenario up close. If you're trying to like beat their mashing or something like that, don't do that. But like from a distance, in any other storms, in a combo, totally fine to do. It's nice to throw out every once in a while, especially because of the chip, because of the surprise factor, because you can punish stuff. But, you know, it's not amazingly OP that you can just throw it out every time you get enough bar and then you know, you win automatically, you know what I mean? It's got to be like the right time to use it and the wrong time to use it are very clear, and you just need to be aware of that. So now I'm going to go break down the throw conversions. So Chris can combo off of his throws. All grounded ones work. So you can do stun rod, you can do even standing heavy, crouching heavy, pretty much anything that like OTGs or hits. Slide's another good one. Back throw, same situation. But notice how they flop on the ground. For some reason, the ground throw removes the ground bounce from his combos. So that's all you can do if you hit him in the air. So my best recommendation for a ground throw conversion is either to tag in your partner right away, which will work, and then you can finish it off with Chris. I don't know if that works. Oh yeah, it does. Cool. That's probably the most damaging combo you're going to do with one bar off a throw, 3k. You can also just do a grounded variation if you have Solar Chris left, using the Magnum confirm off of combination punch. You can also do a Magnum off of stun rod. Maybe not stun rod. Let's do... Nope, not even slide. I guess it's just standing heavy punch. Nope. Forget I said anything. I know some of the stones, like Power Stone will be good. There you go. But again, if you hit him in the air, you can't do anything after that. So yeah, you can experiment with that. And I did want to point out the ground throws are a little bit different from the air throws. And the difference with the air throws is you get to keep the ground bounce. Pretty cool, huh? Bad news is, forward throws do not let you OTG, and I found this out just the other day. So if you get a forward throw, not even a partner tag, you cannot OTG. I think this is a bug. I want to say it's a bug, because back throws will work, and you do get a ground bounce afterwards. So they screwed up. Either one's right and the other's wrong. That's basically it. One's right and the other's wrong. Either they didn't intend for him to pick up after a ground or an air throw, or they did intend for him to pick up. I'm guessing that they did intend, because you can pick up off of ground throws. But a front air throw, you can't pick up. So just keep that in mind. You probably just want to set up afterwards. But yeah, that happens. So be wary of your options off of throws. Alright, so now we're going to get to the fun part. Combos. Love Chris combos. So, like I said, for a starter to lead in, you can do Stun Rod. And let me make sure he's not blocking anymore. And just watch the sequence here. And then I'll break it down afterwards. So this, in my opinion, is Chris's BNB. You'll see a lot of other people doing Gunshot in the slide. You'll see a lot of people just going into like Magnum stuff, or Flamethrower, Magnum, Flamethrower, Magnum. Don't do that. Because as you just saw there, Flamethrower Magnum can be a tricky link, and if they're too low, they'll fall out. But if they're on the ground, you can do that. I just don't recommend it. It's just a little awkward, and I think Chris's best, most damaging combos will involve him doing the slide first into OTG landmine. And the most guaranteed way to do that is to not throw in this crouching heavy kick. It'll also help your pressure game, because you're not You don't have to worry about this shot getting put back at you. Same thing with this move. You get it reflected back at you and you're screwed, right? So don't throw that into your string. You pretty much only have to worry about, whoops, that string right there. So light kick, heavy punch, slide. And like I said before, if you're too far away, you can do slide from light kick, which is good too. But you want to just cancel that slide until landmine right away. And then you can follow it up with stun rod, which always works. If you do it fast enough. If you do it a little late with the landmine, it won't work. And there is some cases where they can fall away like that. So you have to be pretty quick with your pickups. But off a low light kick, this will always work. So it's stun rod, and I throw in a heavy punch afterwards just for more additional confirmation. If you try to do Magnum afterwards, it will work off of stun rod, but I like to throw in that heavy punch for a little bit more damage. And then after that Magnum, you can pretty much do stun rod, heavy punch, launch them in the air, and then do the magic series. So you notice I do light kick, heavy punch, heavy kick. A little bit different than the standard magic series light punch, light kick, heavy kick, because it's a little bit more consistent, I found. It's kind of interesting. For Chris, his air combos, I mean, it doesn't really matter which sequence you do as long as you're more comfortable with it, but I would recommend the double light kick approach. They have a smaller chance of falling out if you just do light kicks. Light punch, they can always fall out due to stun or whatever if you're following up after a partner. I would just recommend doing that version. And then to finish it off, you want to do that standing heavy kick. I've seen people go for Magnum here. It won't work sometimes, and it's too risky, and you might not have bullets in the stock. You know, there's too many variables at stake. Just go for the easy confirm, which is heavy kick into super, which is of course the grenade launcher super that we're doing. That'll always work, and that'll bring it all together. Off of an overhead, if you do happen to get that, I'll show you the most. Wait, the best way to confirm this anyway. Whoops, messed up. Because you're getting some extra hits in there. So if we do the same combo that we did before, it could work. But this was in the corner. That's pretty nice damage, like 6.5, right? Let's see what happens if I do it. Whoops, and I'm screwing up. Whoops. So we're not exactly in the corner here. Okay, so if you do it fast enough, it'll work. But sometimes they fall out after that pistol shot. So don't say I didn't warn you. Sometimes you just want to... If you want to be extra careful, just throw in a stun rod before the launch. You're still going to do good damage. Don't worry about the damage drop off. It's still going to be like almost 6.5k. Really good stuff. But yeah, just you know, be wary of the options. Be wary that Chris does do more damage now, so a lot of like really super optimal combos, they could drop out later. And they do eventually drop out of the grenade launcher super if you do too much damage, so keep that in mind. It's not a full super at any point. Same thing with sweep combo, but that's kind of a weird super as itself. For happy birthdays, this is a good one. And I wanted to point this out. When you're comboing in a happy birthday, let's see if I got this right. Whoops, I want to get the slide confirmed. Whoops. And I keep having to block. There we go. So, you know, just an air heavy kick, the partner will fall out. But the good news is Chris, oh my god, Chris doesn't have to worry about that. He can do light kick, heavy punch, Magnum, and they both hit combos. So, if you do recognize a birthday, switch up your air combo and make sure you include Magnum after the heavy punch, and then tag into a partner. If you do only have solo Chris, you're gonna have to keep it grounded.
Hero. One, two, here's another system online.
That's a birthday combo. So yeah, just, you know, a couple arsenal, you know, a couple things to have in your arsenal if you do get a birthday. Just to show you the level 1 version. This will not work. Oh, we'll work on 2 of them. Ah, shows why now. In Marvel 3, it would only work on 1, but you can freeze both characters, so that's the level 1 variation. Very nice to have. I think you can throw another Magnum in afterwards. Let's try that out. Whoops. Whoops, I missed. One more time, then I'm gonna move on. Beautiful. Look at that damage. So that's the most, I think that's the most optimal ground BNB for birthdays. Alright, so let's see what else I have in my notes here. Alright, so once you got like some solo Chris stuff down with combos and, you know, conversions with Magnum, some neutral ideas, maybe throwing out a grenade every once in a while, getting a feel for his normals, and, you know, just learning conversions, we have to figure out what stone you want to use. So in my opinion, the best stones for Chris are reality and power. Space, you can kind of get some stuff with, but once you put someone in the box, they're not going to respect Chris's approach. You're not going to be able to mix them up. It's just a waste. Power, you can at least do damage once you get to confirm. Reality is just really good for keep away. I'll display reality first because I think a lot of people just aren't really certain if reality's still good. There's a little bit of a startup now. The tracking's weird. I think with Chris, it's still good because you can do this. I think gunshot. I think gunshot, reality stone, reality stone, gunshot, reality stone, or gunshot, reality stone, gunshot. You know, whatever way you want to go. I'm getting all mixed up. Is really good for Chris's keep away game. It's just really solid, and it's really pestering. Again, you don't want to do this too often because, you know, some guys might get in the air, they might hit you out of it, and reality stone goes away. But there's a lot of cool stuff you can do with reality stone with Chris, just because it gives you that extra projectile that you can play with, and then you can set up. You can do pretty much do whatever you want once that's out there. But again, you have to be careful because it does go away when you get hit now. And the storm is just really good because you have jump heavy kick, and then you have. Let's see if I can get it. Yep. Oh, my mistake. As far as I know, you can. Yep. If you're good enough, you can combo that lightning into level 3, and I think Chris is the only character who can do that with Reality Storm. Pretty nice to have. And of course the other things with Reality Storm, just really good for Chris. It's like having a bunch of assists in one. It's like having Dr. Doom back again. It's just a really good storm. So I would recommend that, and I would also recommend Power Stone. A lot of people are like, why would you use Power Stone? Like, it's more for like mix-up characters. Like, not exactly. Like, I think it's a very good get-off-me tool. Just look at the range it has up front and the range it has from above. So if you're jumping in the air and someone's trying to go up there and greet Chris, you can just throw that out there. It's really good. It's just really good for, like, keeping them on their toes. It makes them really hard to approach Chris. In general, like, they don't... Some guys just, when they play me, they don't know what to do because they're trying to jump up at Chris, and I just do Power Stone. It's a really good defensive tool. It's a really good get-off-me. The Storm, sure, it's not that great neutral. Whoops. Why did I switch to space? I'm trying to find... action. Crouching. So this is another tool that you can confirm the overhead with, and yes, you do get a full combo off of it. For the Power Stone portion, I will show you how to combo off of it. Pretty straightforward stuff. This is just for solo confirms. And I didn't do that fast enough. My bad. So yeah, same stun rod slide. And then super after Magnum. So it happens early enough in the combo where you can Magnum after that standing heavy kick, but in general, off of his basic BNBs, you won't be able to Magnum fast enough, they'll fall out. So yeah, keep that in mind, but off of a Power Stone confirm like that, it's pretty good. And then off of the Power Stone going in the Storm.
Humanity will always overcome. System online.
Learn that combo. Pretty damn good. The thing is, it's a little awkward, but if you hit it with Magnum, basically the bounce is super high up. So you do light kick, heavy punch, heavy kick, and then Magnum. Because heavy kick won't knock them down in Power Storm, it'll wall bounce them. So you need something that actually like sets them up so you can combo into that level 3. And Magnum is the perfect tool for that. So make sure you have a bullet. Chris can also combo into his storms from his combination punch. See how they're stunned there when you follow up the heavy punch with another heavy punch? The problem is you can't normally do anything after it because he shoots a shotgun. But if you cancel the storm, they stay stunned. And then you can do whatever you want here. So yeah. I think Power Stone is really good for Chris. That might just be my opinion. If you want to play a more lamer game with more projectiles, maybe try Reality. But I think Power is right up there too as one of Chris's best stones, and it's also a really good comeback stone for him. All he needs is that one hit with Power, and then he's good. Time, I've seen people use Time. Shouts to Jumpman, good Xbox player. He uses Crystal Ramen Time, and I think Time is just. I think it's almost there to being good. I mean, it'll get you out of corner situations. You'll get some tricky mix-ups with it, you know, whatever. But it doesn't really benefit Chris past that. Like, you can run away for so long. You can only run away for so long. You'll get caught eventually. And Time does have that, you know, you gotta be careful. You can't just smash it. And I think as a defensive stone, it could be better. And the Storm is a little awkward for Chris as well because I don't know. I don't really know what his best options are. You can do that. You can dance on him.
Humanity will always overcome.
You can stun rod a lot. Yeah, maybe it's just that. I don't know. But it's difficult to combo into level 3 off of that.
Humanity will always
You know what I mean?
overcome.
Unless you go into combo punch afterwards. He can do some weird like combination punch stuff. I'm not that good with Time Stone though. You know, kinda cute, but again, it's not gonna do that much damage. So I recommend Power. And again, Mind Stone, I've seen Automatic use Mind Stone just because it gives you more level 3s for neutral. But in my opinion, raw level 3s in neutral are not as good as some would make you think. I think it's more of an idea of whether or not people are familiar with the level 3s. But once people start to wise up and know what your level 3 can do, then Mind Stone becomes even more of a gimmick at that point because you're just wasting bar. I mean, level 3 is still good for the chip, so you are getting guaranteed chip with Mind Storm, but again, Chris isn't really benefiting from Mind Stone stuff. I mean, you can't get that many grab mix-ups with Mind Stone, or area grabs. Not with Chris anyway, so I would not recommend Mind Stone. Soul Stone, I mean, you get a free chance, you get another life. You can just cancel it again with level 3 if you bring your partner back to life with Chris. Kinda good. I'm not an expert with Soul Stone. You probably can't get that many good combos with Chris and Soul Stone, just because it's the awkward setups with Magnum and Flamethrower and stuff. I don't know. Definitely experiment with that if you think it's a good stone, though. And now we're gonna get to the partner stuff. I kind of showed some ideas with this earlier already with Magnum confirms. You know, partners help you continue that combo. Really, in general, like Chris. You'll benefit a lot, like from characters that have a nice long super, like a lockdown super. So if oh my god, I can't do a winner soldier combo right now. And I'm just doing basic like winner soldier combo, like I'm not trying to do anything optimized right now. I'm still dropping. Well, anyway, if they get locked down, you can do some setups, set up grenades, you got plenty of time to reload, and so on. And, you know, it's pretty good stuff. And, like, if they're locked down enough, Chris can even, like, help follow up with his own stuff, with Magnum and stuff like that. I think, in general, the partners that you want to look for are maybe more mobile, like mix-up characters to start. For Chris, because he does have those lockdown supers. I was using Strider at first with Chris. He's a really good partner just because he can teleport around a lot, do a lot of mix-ups.
Time for overkill.
I mean, with Winter Soldier, you can't really do much. You can overhead, I guess, or jump to the other side. With Time Stone, you can just mash Time Stone, go back and forth. Teleport characters will be easier with mix-ups. Same thing with even like Sweep Combo. Just because his guns go far enough. You know, you get a lot of good stuff off that alone. So, you know, both of the supers are really good for lockdowns. You can't really mix up while in level 3, because like I said, when you tag, he gets rid of it. But for partners, just keep in mind someone that will benefit from Chris's tools, like Chris's support. Like Chris will lock you down, and then what can you do after that? You know what I mean? Or will Chris help you confirm stuff? I mean, I just found the other day, you know, Winter Soldier, he gets a gunshot, you know, Chris gets a Magnum from this distance, and then you're good. Like, you can just combo afterwards. So it's really nice to have Chris around either in the back or up front to help set stuff up. Basically, don't be afraid to throw out a neutral grenade launcher every now and then, because then you can just go for mix-ups. And then you can just combo afterwards off the hard knockdown. So that's kind of the basic, like, idea of, you know, for partners, pretty much anyone that will benefit from the set play that Chris could possibly set up after a combo. And you can do it at the tail end of combos as well, like Chris's. Getting hit with the grenade launcher, you know, don't be afraid to, like, just go in there and mix them up afterwards. You get a free reset, basically. So that's good, too. In closing, you know, if you're still with me, Chris becomes a bit more formidable in this version of the game after the patch. He was a bit lacking because Magnum didn't pierce anything. But now that Magnum does go through stuff, Chris is now a huge threat on the grounds. He has great ground game, he has good lockdown tools, he can set up a lot of stuff with his supers, and he does do damage when he gets it. I think overall, if you do want to play Chris, it's more about not overcommitting. Like I said, don't just throw out level 3s because you have them. Don't just throw out Magnums because you have the bullets. And, you know, it's about finding the right time to do it. And being aware of where your opponent is on the screen. Because if they're in the air, you're not going to be wanting to shoot Magnums, obviously. You can't do anything except shoot down or forward. On the grounds, you want to set up, like, grenades and stuff. So when they do come back down, they have to respect it. Or if they do approach and they don't respect it, they run to the mine, you got a free hit. I think Chris really does excel, actually, against better characters. I think Dante does have some trouble against Chris, until he starts, like, teleporting and stuff. So you can't overcommit against teleport characters, basically. It's kind of even against Dormammu. It's a good matchup for Chris against Hawkeye, just because it goes through all the arrows. Zero, Chris, pretty decent, until Zero starts, you know, staying in the air. Some of Chris's tougher matchups include, like, Jeddah, Captain Marvel, because she can put on that armor. It does go through Magnum. Even bigger bodies like Hulk and Nemesis can give Chris a hard time with their armored options. And yes, Winter Soldier, the Chris 2.0, is a pretty rough matchup for Chris from what I found so far, because that metal shield goes up and beats everything that Chris has. All of his gunshots, all of his supers, and yeah, even Magnum. So there's not much Chris can do in that situation when Winter Soldier does have that metal shield up. But, you know, you can always get that little slide in there as a low, I guess, to hit him. But, you know, just to keep that in mind. But in closing, I hope that this, you know, brought things to your attention of, you know, maybe you learned something today, if you're a Chris player and you knew all this stuff, well, hopefully you have a better understanding now, or maybe you learned something new. I hope you come away from this with, you know, just more knowledge in general. And if you have any questions for me, don't be afraid to hit me up on Twitter. It's ChrisD, all one word. And YouTube, you know, give me a follow or leave some comments here. Willing to answer. And I also do have a Twitch channel. I'm going to try and stream more often, maybe some ranked matches or casual matches, maybe just some training or more, you know, tech ideas, maybe share some Chris ideas with each other. It's Christopher_D is my Twitch channel. Go ahead and follow it if you liked what you saw here, or if you like the sound of my voice. I do have a camera. I just didn't want to do it for this because, well, I don't look that great right now. So, thanks again for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time.